What's up, everybody?
How's it going?
It's another episode of Broken Bear
Episode 2.
Conversations. Episode 2, correct. Episode 2 for this current session today. I think overall we might be like at episode 16 or whatever. So we got a good amount of episodes now done. So we got a little discography of Broken Bear Conversation episodes. But yeah, it's another day. I'm Seiko.
I'm Josh.
Josh, yep. And we are two guys in Seattle just talking into some mics.
Two guys in one cup.
Exactly. Yeah, and you know where that heads. But anyway, we're on everything: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your content. But yeah, anyway, off camera, Josh was kind of telling me about something really freaking crazy.
I learned this in my tour of Seattle and Pioneer Square.
Yeah.
I guess a long time ago. So if you don't know, Pioneer Square, it's like the oldest part of Seattle. It is, I guess, the main part that is like where they kind of built up their downtown, because there was a fire at one point that kind of burned the whole downtown, and they had to rebuild. And when they decided to rebuild it out, it was going to be Pioneer Square, and they actually lifted up the streets because like they raised everything up. So like, I guess all of Seattle was just hills, which obviously, if you go to Queen Anne and stuff like that, I mean, it's like, so they chipped away at a lot of stuff. So a lot of Seattle, especially Pioneer Square, it's all underground, which is pretty crazy. Like it was actual thriving kind of part of Seattle for like till the 1970s is when I was told. So this underground, a lot of stuff has happened in it. But back then, when the beginning of Seattle, when it was first starting, people would get this term called Shanghaied. And from what they were telling me during the tour, the Shanghaied, you'd be wandering, doing your normal things. Like if you're just getting off work, and as you be wandering around, going back to your home, they may have the flooring would be out on some areas, and you'd fall through the floor, and then you would get kidnapped, and then you would wake up on a ship going to China. So you just been Shanghaied, and the only way you'd come back is because the captain would need sailors and stuff like that for all the stuff they're gonna be getting, for all the transport. So all these people, by the time they get back, which sometimes it's like 2 years, they would come back to a life that doesn't exist anymore. Some people had wives, had families that now have been remarried. They lost their jobs. So it's like they're having to literally start back over. And this would happen often. This was a common thing in Seattle. Sometimes people would be traveling, just not even from here, and wake up and their life is gone.
That's
and
so
you're saying like
crazy.
how traumatizing? Yeah, imagine that.
Traumatizing.
Imagine that nowadays if that happened. Like you just Zico doing whatever, and all of a sudden you're gone. And then 3 years later you come back.
Even without getting kidnapped, just going through life regularly, you can have a day where things just your life changes. You could have a day like you could be in a marriage, and then next thing you know, the next day you find out that infidelity happens, and then the next day you're divorced, and now your whole world is all in shadows. And that's already traumatizing enough. But it's a whole nother level when it's not your choice.
Yeah, it's not your choice. Or not like you just
taking you to China. What?
Especially back then, because like there was only one way to get back, by ship, and how long that would take,
and also
and what you had to face.
That there's no communication.
Yeah,
there's no telephones or internet.
Nothing. You had to send a letter, which it might take as long as it takes you to get there.
And the letter might not even get there.
No,
that happens.
There's no guarantee. Yeah. People are like, oh, I don't want to do this.
I know.
Or that guy gets killed trying to do his job. Who knows what?
That's why when people. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, complaining about my life nowadays, but like, it's a lot better than the past, past, so much shit could happen. Man.
No, not only that, but exactly what you just said. So much shit could happen. I was researching shit at work, and this is what blows my mind, because we live in a world, it's a modern world. We have so many conveniences where we can bathe regularly. Yeah. We can use the restroom at our convenience. Things even right now in the hallway, we have an extra restroom for people who want to use it. Yeah. So it's like for us as humans, I feel like we're at the pinnacle of cleanliness and all this stuff. And saying that, there are people who obviously still are dirty, but back then it wasn't really, you didn't have a choice. Most people just didn't bathe. They didn't have that as an option, unless you had money, or that even people that with money didn't really bathe that much. And I was reading these reviews about the Louvre, which I honestly didn't know exactly how old the Louvre was, how long it's been existing as that. But this review is from 1675. And it was about how when they were going in there, the stench of human excrement was overwhelming. You couldn't even enjoy it. So this is their review of the Louvre when it was I guess the talk of town or whatever you want to call it back then. But people would just pee everywhere because where else would you go back then? There wasn't just public restrooms. So people would just be shitting on everything. And that's why it was in the royals, their palaces. That's why they would move palaces so much, because people would just shit. And there was just shit. Look at the alleys with the homeless. They shit everywhere. But because they're homeless, they don't have a place to live. Now, if you look at it where nobody has a toilet in their home and people have to use the restroom, if you're wandering around in public settings where there's lots of stuff going on, people just shit everywhere. And I'm like, I look at the past now, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck did we live? How the hell did we ever get out of that? That blows my mind.
That's why I think
That blows my mind.
I think when growing up as a person, you have to learn to become human. I genuinely think we're all born as animals. And that's why if you look back at our past, we did act like animals, because we're just shitting everywhere. We're just fucking whoever, everybody's just people.
God, how gross people were. Could you imagine? No one had any hygiene. People didn't brush their teeth. They didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why they passed away so early too.
This disease. People. Well, I don't think people knew about bathing and how it helped. And I don't know how we I know I wouldn't probably be alive at all. I'd be old age at my age right now. So
I would be at.
You already have like 4 kids by now.
No, I'm at my midlife. Right
you are.
I'm at the end of my life.
You might be, dude.
Now, but it's crazy that now.
Yeah.
You look at 22 and you're just at the beginning.
You're still a baby, man.
I just have so much more to
you
do.
better fucking scratch the surface shit. You
So
still.
It just shows you how crazy it is that back then adults would be like 20s.
No, adults would be, I think, like 13, actually.
That's even crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like you didn't have a choice back then besides
the people that are like running things, like the boss is a 13-year-old, like the head of the house is 13, you know? And then your dad is 13. Like he's supposed to have a kid and he's supposed to raise a human being. Like what does a 13-year-old know? They still haven't even been through they still haven't like made enough mistakes.
I guess because, and that's the truth, but if you look at the world back then, most people, especially if you're you're already now a man at 13, that you live in a town where there probably be a couple hundred people there, or there might be a couple thousand people there. So it's like your world's so little, like you're not gonna be outside of that. Versus our world now, it's like we exposed so much, which is again people. Which put that in context, we have access to so much that no humans, as far as we know, have ever had anything like this, unless there was something. With the internet? Well, I know with the internet, but there could have been some kind of weird telepathy thing. I don't know. I have no idea of the role, but I don't want to judge it from my view, but because the past is the past. But just from how I can look at it, we are, as far as I know, the first humans where we can have this massive communication at this level of the different cultures, the way humans are and we're so fucking different from each other. Shockingly different.
Even people in the same family are different from each other.
And it's
let alone
crazy.
The whole country or continent.
Because the fact that we are all animals, because most animals are pretty fucking similar to each other. Even dogs, a dog's a dog. It's not much different than other dogs. They're going to react the same, respond the same. Most humans aren't going to respond the same or react the same. We are that different. Even as if we all got raised the same, our brains are capable of so much that it's like, it's kind of fucking crazy. And that now that we're on this global level, it's nuts. And it's weird to me that we live in this world, which I'm thankful for because I fucking love bathing. I love showers. I love having a commode and toilets and all that shit. I love our modern conveniences. So I could not imagine how the past was.
More recent convenience, which is like weed, like 20 years ago, that was illegal.
Oh, illegal, but that's always existed for thousands of years.
I know,
so it's like
there was a lot of stigma against it, and you wouldn't be able to smoke it 100% in peace.
No,
knowing that there's a lot of shit going on.
No,
get caught,
unfortunately not.
So even that is a recent luxury that we have now as well.
What's funny is like that was a thing that has always existed, and then all of a sudden, like in the early 1900s, they started becoming like outlawed, and then now it's not outlawed anymore. It's eventually coming out, which is.
I heard the reason why it was outlawed is, of course, money, because whoever that knew about it knew that hemp could be used to make a lot of products like paper and all that type of stuff, but people didn't want that to happen. They wanted, I think it was like.
It's all about greed. I know, it's all about greed.
Like some paper company that saw that this hemp product could be a competition to their product, so then they got all their like politician friends to outlaw it. That's really how it happened.
Yeah,
it wasn't because weed was.
I don't doubt that. It's always
money.
It's always about the power, and people look at right now. We still trying to use fossil fuels on shit. Like, why the fuck are we still trying to do that shit? Like, we still try it. We still want to keep doing that because like it's important. Like, it's not.
because it's so complicated. Because there's so many things that
It's
rely on
too
it.
entangled. It's too entangled
Yeah.
in our world. This
Yeah.
should have been already being adjusted like probably the 80s and 90s. It should have been because electric cars existed way before that. But it's like this stuff. It was just the 80s and 70s. They blew up on the like. Look at the vehicles that came out. We had a lot of beautiful vehicles that are still people like today. Like there's some that exist back there that I love, but those things are not made to work. You cannot hardly go anywhere. It wastes so much gas. They're not made for that. And that's where we put our focus in for some stupid reason. That's what we did, and it's unfortunate because it's not. Look at it. Like right now, look at we have too many people in this world.
I know.
It's like these vehicles and stuff like that. It's just it's nuts the way to think of it. And I really feel like people thought we'd be a lot different. I think in our current world, I really feel like I don't know. It feels like maybe there might be something else coming.
What do you mean?
Like I was thinking about this, like with all our cables, we still have other stuff. Like I feel like it's 2023. I feel like honestly, technology would be a lot more advanced. I know they talk about robots and stuff. I feel like there might be something changing where maybe vehicles will be obsolete eventually or something like that.
That'd be crazy.
I don't know.
Imagine how much space we could save if we didn't have cars,
And I'm talking like something close, like probably with like next 20 years, there might be something crazy happening.
I mean, if self-driving does become a thing, I think that'll solve a lot of problems.
It would solve quite a bit, but we'd have to eliminate all the cars that do not self-drive for that to happen.
I mean, it seems like we are headed towards that direction because, like, I think Seattle passed a bill that by like 2030 or whatever, all cars got to be electric.
Oh, I didn't. I don't know if you remember this or not, but like I know, like it started like around 2015 or maybe a little earlier. But a lot of the cars, that's the reason a lot of the self-driving cars won't do as well, is because there's cars that don't have this technology in it that and so they can talk to each other. Older cars don't have it. So I think it started like in 2015. Eventually those cars will be phased out. It's not, those cars aren't 10 years old yet, but they're getting closer. So eventually older cars won't exist anymore, and this will be at least 15 years. So eventually all these cars will have this technology where they can at least communicate, which is also great, but then also can be terrifying because that's where it goes in like the where technology, AI having control because they can talk to each other. So we know that you can definitely hack a car and do stuff to it. So it's like,
but the car hasn't been hacked yet.
As far as we know.
That's true. As far as we know, maybe it has been hacked, and maybe like
I'm pretty sure
it's been covered up.
People are smart. People hack the Tesla. I'm pretty sure people can figure out how to open those. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's stuff that's in there. It has to. People are too smart. Yeah. I'm not smart, and I can do shit on computers. I don't even like computers. So if I can figure shit out, sometimes I know people that have a knack for it. Yeah. It's like
I just hope Elon Musk knows what he's doing, man.
You hope, because these people we have to hope because they literally are in control of our lives. Like their decisions are literally going to affect everybody.
Yeah, I look at human society as just one big tribe, and everybody has their role.
That's true.
You gotta be realistic. Elon Musk, he's a genius. He's a really smart guy. He knows what he's doing. That's his role. I'm gonna just have to trust him.
But
he knows what he's doing.
And that's what. So you're right. Everyone has to have their role, and we do, and that's a big part of our society. It's a big part. But the people that are in charge, we hope that they know that they are in charge of that role, because some people, I feel like, don't know that they're in charge of that role, and that's what's crazy is because you being a part of whatever this is, your one decision can affect so much of the world. And if they're aware of that, they have that choice, then that at least makes me feel comfortable. But there's some people, I feel like some presidents we've had aren't aware of how their choices can be affected. Like when you're at a certain level, money wise or fame wise, your choices now will affect a lot of different things. And which is terrifying. I couldn't imagine having that pressure. It's already hard making daily decisions.
You know what's crazy? Because I look at everybody as just human. Even the president, he's not this godly figure that's above us. He's just a guy like us.
We put him on this fucking crazy pedestal.
But the thing about being human is that we all make mistakes.
We do,
and we all kind of lash out, or we might project shit. Like for example, if you're having a bad day. Like let's say you get in an argument with your spouse, right? And then you go to work. You might take out that anger on your work. You might like fuck up a machine or whatever, but not on purpose. I'm just saying, that's part of being human, and that's at our small scale of just, we're just average people. But like these people that are in power, they're the same thing as us. They're human too, and they're gonna have bad days, but the amount of power they have, that bad day, has a global scale. We're just gonna fuck up this one machine in this small corner of the
Yeah.
world. Them, if they have a bad day, they might fuck up the whole country, you know,
Yeah.
if they make a bad decision just based on this bad day they had, you know. That's what's scary.
It's true, and it's like you gotta have that more control. You know that old Spider-Man saying, "With great power comes great
Yeah.
responsibility,"
Yeah.
which is literally true.
Yeah.
You know, it is kind of terrifying, and that makes me, you kind of wonder like how are you supposed to handle that? Like I don't think a lot of people do handle that very well. Obviously, you see like people go crazy. You know, some celebrities go crazy because it's a lot of pressure, and
'Cause we're not meant to be that popular or famous.
I don't
Naturally.
think to that extent, but like I feel like that's existed even like in our history, but.
Well, I think even if like kings and stuff, I don't think that's natural, you know,
No.
to have that amount of power even
Yeah.
back then.
No,
If
that's
anything,
crazy.
it might have been it might have affected them even more because they control. It's one person controlling the whole kingdom, and they
Yeah.
have. It was more kind of like a dictatorship, more
It
so,
is,
because they
yeah.
don't really have a council of people. They just make the decisions themselves.
And we just like have people that are famous because we enjoy viewing them or
Oh,
watching
man.
them and stuff like that. And they you know, it's a weird culture like that we live in, that we
It is.
live our lives how they're designed.
But at the same time, I understand it.
I do.
You know, because
It-
like this person might not be a good person, but
Yeah.
they're just so intriguing
Well,
to watch.
And that's the thing, and that's what people, I think, if as long as we learn how to separate, like even like celebrities or whatever they may be, we're human. They're humans like us. They may grow up a little different. Sometimes not. Sometimes people grow up literally the same. They just happen to be at the right place, right time, and
Yeah,
broke out.
yeah.
But for the most part, I think most celebrities grow up in that world because their families in that world, so it's normal for them. But we tend to put them on a pedestal because we like to live our lives out through other people and like that, and then we might get upset because they may not be a certain person
Yeah.
they portray, because again that's just a job. Some of those that is it. They may be great at their job so they can look like a certain way, but I know some people get upset because like they might want to get autograph and things don't happen, but like, you don't know what's going on. They may have just lost a loved one. We have no idea what's going on in the world. They can't be there for you, but that's not their job to you know be there for certain people. But it's like being at that level, I couldn't even imagine how you function.
I don't know. Look at Will Smith.
Yeah, like he's like retiring. I saw that. Like I'm
Oh, you see-
retiring.
I didn't
I just
even
saw a
know
thing.
that.
He's like I'm tired of doing this shit for y'all to make y'all happy. I'm
he said
retiring. I'm like, well, we didn't say you have to do it to make us happy.
I think he's having a breakdown.
He's having a breakdown, 100%. I was like, that's not that you just do it for you. Why we shouldn't
What
even.
happened at was it the Oscars or Grammys?
It was
that?
Oscars, the
Oscars.
slap, yeah.
The slap. This guy really slapped Chris Rock.
He
you
did.
know? Like this guy, in his whole career.
And that's about those decisions you're talking about. That's one of those decisions. He had one. He could have. I would have like. I don't know what the best decision. Which I don't know how you feel about it. I feel like he could have waited afterwards and spoke to him like to me like waited till after it and like acknowledged it, or just like brought it up, and he didn't have to react like that. You can be upset for sure, but I think physical violence is different. Like obviously people are gonna react like that, and you might want to have that urge.
Yeah.
And I think still fine slapping them. Go wait till afterwards. Like, hey man.
Hey, you know what's funny to me though? The fact that this man slapped a man on national television on an Oscar or Grammy performance, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then after slapping him, he still won the award. What the
Which
fuck?
is weird.
This
No,
man
it's like-
slapped the man and he
Yeah.
won the award still.
Yeah, which I
No
thought was crazy.
consequences.
Like I don't know why he was allowed to still be there,
And
because
his
like
speech was about
imagine
peace.
it. Yeah, no, I thought that was
Right.
crazy. So imagine like if it was just him, he slapped a lady, he would not be there. He would have been gone, right? It should be the same either way.
Yeah.
It should be the same
okay,
either
I
way.
see what you're saying.
Because he should have been since he slapped, which again that was his choice to do that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have stayed there.
Yeah.
That's what made it uncomfortable. Why? Because he was winning. That's why they wanted him to stay, because that's all that. Again, it comes down to greed or whatever, but they didn't know what to do. No,
Yeah.
you physically
Yeah.
assaulted somebody
know.
in
He's
public.
making a joke, too.
Yeah,
That's his
and
job.
if he's like, that's what comedians do.
Yeah.
Comedians are supposed to do that. It's like you
Yeah.
can't police that because it's a joke. It's freedom of speech. Of course, it's something you're not supposed to talk about. They're gonna fucking do it. But again, like him doing that, and he's upset that people are mad that, and he thinks why people didn't like his movie. But some people are also over these older celebrities. We're kind of like we're bored with y'all. I guess
I mean,
maybe.
That's the interesting thing
You know?
about the current world is it kind of seems like everything happens in abundance, you know, like there's an abundance of like new musicians coming out every day.
It's almost every decade. It's something like that happens. So it would be
But
like
I feel like with the internet, it's a lot more now. 'Cause
Oh,
it's like every other
100%.
day a new rapper pops up. 'Cause I'm
100%.
into like
Yeah.
music scene, you know, and it's like literally every other
It's so
day,
fast.
this new guy who's just extremely famous, you know. And it seems like even with content nowadays, because I run our content, and it seems to be short form is a thing now.
Well,
like so much short form just out there, you know. It's like every day just you get so much shit just blasted out to
well,
you.
that's the thing that they say is like with the internet, there's kind of no excuse nowadays to like the struggling artist type quote. Like it's not as much of a thing nowadays. Like you can get like people will say like if they're artists like say Schubert. I don't know if you know Schubert or not. If you ever heard the song Ave Maria.
I know.
Well, anyway, there's like he was a classical musician. He ended up dying poor. He was like here's another example. Van Gogh. Like you know him,
Yeah, I
obviously.
know the story.
So he died poor. None of us saw his art. So people they say like that nowadays doesn't exist because you can put it on the internet out there. Someone will find it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will see it and see the value in it because the world wasn't ready for Van Gogh yet. That's why he wasn't successful. Now this shit's amazing and people like, hold it to the highest esteem possible.
Well, my point more so is that it seems like things don't matter as much, you know.
That's what I mean.
You can
That's
have a Van Gogh,
yeah.
and he's so iconic, you know. But I feel like now there's like 10 Van Goghs that pop up every day.
Because if you look at it, look how many people are in this world now.
Yeah.
How many people were in the world back then?
Yeah.
We have they say it's like what? It's already over 8 billion as of right now.
Yeah.
People are talented. Of course, there's going to be people that are going to have like that Van Gogh type talent that are born and they're going to exist.
Yeah.
And it's like even like one dude that died that Aaron liked at work.
Yeah.
Like phenomenal dude.
It was an artist that passed away.
Yeah, artist dude. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, and I don't know his name, so I apologize for bringing that up. But yeah, like that dude, super talented guy, and I wish I had his name to say it. But like those people do exist, and sometimes they're just a flicker. But we live in a world nowadays where it's like there's so much of people like that, and there's some people that are so talented where like you may not break out, but you might break out. There's kind of like no real excuse nowadays. Like we have, if you're gonna put yourself out there, it's like it's possible to be found. But you're right, people
It just
do.
makes me wonder where we're headed, though. Is it just forever, where we're just gonna have so much abundance of everything?
Well,
it just kind of makes it seem less special.
In a way, yeah, I can see that. Well, there's two things that I feel like there's probably multiple things that can happen, but it's like we could either reach a point where we can only go down, which feels like that's a possibility that might happen.
Go down, though?
Like go down, meaning like it could be like catastrophe type stuff, like electricity stops existing.
Oh, shit.
You know, like that's how we go
real
down.
shit.
Like what the fuck? That's why I talk about what would we do. We like because they say like it's possible that I was just watching this recently, which is weird you brought this up. That they talk about how the north and south, like how the magnetism is going to shift and where the poles are going to switch and all that stuff. And if that does happen, it can affect a lot of different things. Mostly if it does happen, which has happened several times, our electronics will not work if they switch, if they ever do that.
That's like end of the world.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it will cause like I'd say it happens off and on. I don't know if that will cause like catastrophe type stuff where we will stop existing. But if this did happen and it was only temporary, it might be like if it just switched in maybe a few months, we might not have, or maybe even like a year, we wouldn't have electricity. If that happened, if say something like this happened where we still could exist, there was no like massive floods or earthquakes or anything stupid like that, but we just lost electricity for like say 8 months. How the fuck would this world exist? They just say 8 months and we had to get it set straight. There would be anarchy.
Yeah.
Anarchy for sure. Right? How are we going to get food? How are people going to use the restroom? These toilets aren't going to work.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. We're not prepared for that. If anything like that ever happened, we're not.
Yeah.
That's a downhill thing that could happen. AI takes over. What happens if it shuts off everything?
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
There's lots of different possibilities of things. This is the downward part.
Yeah.
The upward part is we all become an abundance where money is shared and we all just live off it and we actually get to pursue things.
I hope.
That's a possibility. 100%. We could live in that world. There's no reason people should have hundreds of billions of dollars. We live in the city where there's billionaires that live here. Lots of billionaires that live here. And we have such a bad homeless problem when this could be taken care of. There was like, I think in New York, they were talking about like, now we're talking about this last podcast, but they were talking about taking them away and forcing them to like, into like homes, like forcing them to like mental health homes. I don't know if that's the thing they might do here, but we live in this world where like we have this, where we could have this great abundance, and we literally could exist where we could all just not like you said, AI taking over, where they're doing like our shitty stupid jobs that we're doing, just meaningless things, just so we can have money to pay for shit. that will be taken over. So if that happens, where robots and AI takes over all the dumb, meaningless shit, that means either, well, how are we going to make money? How are regular people going to find stuff to do? Because it'd be great if we just didn't have to worry about and stuff's paid for and we can actually pursue and go after our own dreams. Like imagine if you were just paid just, hey, you know what? You enjoy doing podcasts? We'll pay your rent. Just keep doing this.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Wouldn't that be amazing if that existed? I wish I had money and I could do that. I could do that for people. You know, I wish I had that, and that should exist.
Well, it's not reality. But
it's not.
I'm trying to do it myself.
No, and that's the thing.
Do it for me. I'm gonna do it myself.
I know, but that's the thing. That's where we could be handy. That's a possibility. Mm-hmm. I like to think of both because I want to be prepared for both. You know, I don't know what may happen, but a world. It looks like it's gonna be two different extremes that could happen. Yeah. I don't see us going. It ain't gonna be a balance. I don't know how we could find a balance at how our current world is. It doesn't make sense. I can't honestly see that. But I can see the extreme side of it, and it does sound great. Like we could have a world, especially 2050. They said we may have robots in all of our homes. I have no idea what that might be like. That seems insane to me. That I can't even comprehend it. Yeah. I really can't comprehend it.
It seems insane to imagine that we're gonna advance by 2050, which is like 20-something years from now, and to have a fully functioning robot that's able to do chores in your home.
Yeah.
That seems like I can't really imagine that.
And this makes me like think like, are they gonna eventually become aware and then break out and then get mad at me because they were my slave for so long? I'm like, I thought you liked doing this. I'm sorry.
I know.
You know? And then eventually AIs will be like there'll be like another person that's in Lincoln's little spot. It'll be like an AI person that's like a robot.
Shit, who knows?
You know, it's like 1,000 years in the future.
I mean, I in that same kind of vein you're talking about, I always think about every day, how are we still here?
No,
I was thinking about there's so many moving parts in the world.
There is, man.
Just thinking about our job in this small corner of the world, there's a lot of moving parts already with all the little machines, all the inventory and stuff, right? Imagine how much more shit's going on. There's our boat going across the ocean right now. All the little shit it's carrying, all the employees, all their little families, all the little dramas that's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of pointless a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's like, imagine all the shit going on in all these little rooms, you know?
And when you watch The Matrix, your mind will fucking explode.
Like all the political stuff, all the political tension, like any moment, how are we not just blowing ourselves up? I think about that every day.
Well, there's things like I think about, which I think we talked about this before, where like these people that live for generations, like how Egypt was, you know, huge fucking city. Who would have thought? Like right now I'm thinking like, yeah, like look at this, like wow, like look at our role, like I know my ancestors, all this stuff, we know our history. People have once thought that in a great city that has been like to ruin, they probably thought that in Rome, like wow, look at this majesty, now look at it, it's destroyed. That might be a possibility. We're living in a world right now, this is America, but what happens if we do get attacked and this gets blown up? This will not exist anymore, and people might be wondering, you know, 1,000 years in the future, what were these humans like that existed here? What were they thinking?
America as a country has too many enemies.
Yeah, and we're young as fuck,
that's
man.
What I be thinking. I'm like,
we're so young.
We have so many people that want to hurt us. I'm like, every day, I think that's another opportunity for them to do something, you know? And I'm pretty sure every day they're plotting.
But like I said, it's easy for us to, like I told you, I already being at FedEx where I knew how people can find ways. Like I told you, there are so many. If you really think about, that's just one small thing where you could easily disrupt our rhythm of the world. We follow this kind of rhythm. We have this timing. Like a lot of people get the timing down. That's where people work out and have their life works out a lot better because you get the timing down. Not even like that. Like if you ever play games, you know, suddenly when you're playing a game, like if you play Call of Duty, whatever, like you just might be boom, you're working out, but you got the timing shit down. And like in life, you can find that timing, and like things will happen for you, right?
Wait, what do you mean by
like the rhythm? Like you know how the world moves, like you're just noticing. That's the rhythm of the world. Paying attention to that timing, that rhythm. That's how you can kind of predict the future in a way, because it's a timing. Things that follow a rhythm. You being able to pay attention to that to help you find your rhythm, find your own time, help you move through the world a lot easier. Because you have to. If your things aren't working out right, you're not finding the right time. Your things are off with you. Shit should be clicking together. So I forgot why I got off on this topic. I apologize. But
that just sounded like really helpful.
It did, and I lost my train of thought, so I apologize.
I think I was talking. What were we talking about? I really forgot too.
I did smoke quite a bit last night, so I'm still lingered. I'm assuming effects.
Yeah, and it's just the morning for me. I'm a little tired myself.
What were we talking about before?
But
I just know paying attention to these rhythms. Yeah.
something about life. You gotta follow this rhythm.
Well, it's just like finding your place in it. I don't really know where I was going with it, but it is important to pay attention. Like we all have these little patterns. I know, like I don't know if you ever played like Skyrim or like a game. Those characters, those little NPCs, they keep doing the same shit over and over. They're all doing. It's like us. That's again like the Matrix. Even the podcast, it's like we're all fucking ones and zeros doing the stupid shit, which is kind of crazy.
You gotta break the routine.
You do,
Yeah.
and I think that's what's people tend to get stuck, and it's so easy. I really wish I knew where I was going before because I felt it was a different direction.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It was a different direction, but this still it's good finding your time, like paying attention, always being aware. Like seriously, like I'm learning this, trying to be more conscious and paying attention to these timing of things because things do work out, and we are just like little machine cogs, and sometimes we're just small pieces in it. Sometimes we could be a big fucking piece that help control and move things. But even a small thing can cause big movements. And it's like you trying to find your right time, it can help move the world. It's like you're in control of your own little world. Where do you want your world to go? And it's like you're trying to control that. And it's like we start losing our control as life happens. Things start pulling away at it, and it kind of hinders it.
Beat you up.
Yeah, it does, and it's hard not to get, not just to give up. It's like it's easy. It's an easy decision to make sometimes. Like, fuck it, I'm kind of tired right now. I don't feel like trying anymore. Life's a struggle. And it's like you have to always kind of be in that survival mode.
Yeah,
it's the only way to really get out of it. Just always be in it.
I guess so.
So it's like
You gotta get used to it.
Yeah. It's just always being like hyper aware. I don't know. It's interesting, and I don't know if this will be like this forever. I really don't. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm glad I'm here. I want to take advantage of it. Like,
What do you mean, be like this?
like this world we live in.
Oh, okay.
I know how quick this shit can go away. Like that's 100%. We could
Enjoy what
easily,
we have.
we could get nuked.
Yeah.
There could be like eventually AI might take over. I don't know what the world's gonna be like. I just know it's gonna be different. The 10 years from now, it's gonna be so different. 20 years from now, it's gonna be so
I'm
different.
so excited to see.
Yeah.
Because it seems like technology is really heading.
It's-
It generally does feel like something big is coming.
It does. I really feel like I promise. 20 years from now, something's going to be crazy. Within the next, from here to the next 20 years, there's going to be some crazy life-changing things that are going to be happening. These small things are happening right now, but there's going to be something like, I don't know.
You want to make a prediction?
I'm making a prediction.
Online right now.
Online right now.
On the
I'm not
internet.
saying it's going to be like, it might be iPhone level,
I'll give mine after you.
I think it's gonna be like I don't know if you remember I remember when iPhone came out. That was one of the biggest fucking things. Like I didn't really think much of it because I had a cell phone, like it's a cell phone, but it's like I didn't really know the impact of it. It's like having things so accessible because I had an iPod and a cell phone. Like I already have these. I don't need this. But all you could do on it, it didn't really click yet. And then I remember I was having this conversation with my wife when she was showing that phone to her grandpa. He couldn't comprehend it. He was like, he looked at it and he said to her with complete seriousness, he's like, did this cost like $1 million? He's like, how much did that cost? I had to cost because he could not comprehend how all this technology could be on this phone and to have access to so much stuff and do so much stuff from just one little thing. And that was game changer. That was the thing that literally changed our world. That's one of those things you're talking about, those decisions that literally moved something. I think we jumped like 10 years. It felt like it was ahead of everything. Now I don't know what's gonna come out. Like I don't know if Tesla's gonna come out with a fucking AI that does everything with the next 10 years. Where like holy shit, that's a game changer. Where we don't have I don't know if if our worlds will change, like jobs will change, or I don't know what's gonna happen. But that could be a game changer that may happen. It could just be something. Catastrophe type stuff. I have no idea. It's just our world is in a crazy spot, but I really feel like there might be something like that in the next 10 years that's going to be like iPhone level game changer that's going to jump us up a level.
I think it is.
I honestly think it's going to be some kind of AI stuff. I think it's got to be something that's going to make us more convenient because like how convenient the phone was, it changed. It has to be something that's going to make more convenience in our lives. That's going to simplify it. So it's got to be something that's going to simplify our world. The only thing I know that can simplify our world is going to be some kind of AI technology. Something that's going to make these minimal tasks that we don't like doing, that's going to make it even easier. You're going to cut out some kind of middleman. Like that's why AI has to be it. It has got to be either something. It doesn't have to be like a robot moving around, but maybe it could be something that helps move things like gravity. I don't know, fucking know. Something that's gonna change things. It's gonna be some kind of AI technology, I feel like.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you say AI because that's also my answer.
Oh shit.
Because what I think is gonna happen is I've seen a lot of AI stuff happening recently with the AI art stuff thing. But the thing that really catches my attention is the Chat GPT thing.
Okay.
Chat AI, because you can talk to this AI and it can talk to like it's a human. It can form sentences. It can form kind of like its own thoughts in a way. It's really
I've seen that, yeah, online.
And right now, people are using it to like write scripts for YouTube videos or like write an essay for like schoolwork and stuff. But that's just the beginning, you know. I don't know if it's going to be this specific AI or another one that comes out in the future, but I genuinely think we're going to have a really smart AI that's smarter than all of us combined.
And that's
Even
what's
smarter
also scary.
Yeah. I think it's going to be even smarter than like Elon Musk and stuff like that, right? And I think that this AI either is going to it's gonna go two ways, okay? It's either gonna go bad and enslave all of us, or it's gonna help us out. Because I think I watched this video about how AI could realistically become so much smarter than us that it could like think 1,000 years, like what humans can do in 1,000 years, this AI can do in a minute.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's
And we don't and in one day, how many minutes are there? That's thousands of years of human evolution in one day, you know. And this AI, if we could get it, like if we could have an AI that's smart, imagine what it could teach us. Like it could blow us our mind with like some new technology.
Well, look at
just advance 1,000 years.
Well, look at our history. You look what would you say the game changers were? If you just go back like 100 years, it could be like flight. That was a big game changer. Look how much that changed the world, right?
I would say that the two big ones in human history recently are the internet and the industrial revolution.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. But other big ones like, television, when that got invented, the game changer right there. The film industry, look how much like it's just all the stuff that spawned from it. Yeah. And look how quick it changed our world. The industrial part, right. Look how in America, how it flourished. And then all of a sudden you look when airplanes started happening, and then like quickly war started happening soon after that. Yeah. And war that's the mother of all invention. It does help us put all the money into not the best ideas. Yeah. But as we keep growing, and look how TV started forming, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's just our culture changed and shifted. And look at internet, boom, culture change, shift. It's like things are happening, and it's like, and they're big, and they are getting bigger. Look how big they were before, and look how big they're getting now. And we are growing up. We are at this point of life where it's like the beginning. So think of like what the 20s were like in 1920 versus 2020. It's still pretty different. It's a very different world from 1820 to 1920. How that was.
It's interesting how both of the 20s had a pandemic.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I wonder what happened in the 1820s. I don't know. It could have been something.
I'm thinking about 1920s.
I know. And it was it's just pretty weird. The parallel is you see people with masks, and there was like cops getting people to wear the bandanas around their face, which is it's odd. What was crazy, there was a lady that when she was a baby, she survived the Spanish flu thing that happened back then, but she died by COVID.
I heard.
Yeah, isn't that fucking nuts, right?
Man, that's crazy.
She was in both of those fucking pandemics.
Went through 2 pandemics.
Yeah.
And the second one took her out.
Yeah,
but she also was older.
Yeah, she was older, but it makes sense. But I thought that was fucking nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, it's weird to think, like, I get fascinated how quick we boomed, and I feel like it's going to be even faster boom than it was it took 100 years for us to get to where we are now. I feel like it might be just like 50 years, and then maybe even that 20 years after that, and then after that it's like we'll just keep growing. And I feel like if you look at things like this, if we're just like 2 points, that's why I feel like something bad might happen, because we're like this and it's getting smaller and smaller, and it's just getting.
What are those 2 points?
Those 2 points, I don't know. I don't know yet, but it's like I just feel like I just feel like these points are just meaning like, picture like the hole we're going through. Like we had this big huge hole, like we're feeding energy in, and it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter because we're getting this pinnacle of us, who we are. So it's like it's closing, and it's almost like a door, and all of a sudden we're just going through this little hole, and it's gonna be this big explosion is gonna come out of it.
I see what you're saying.
Good or bad, I don't know if that means we're going to be like boom catastrophe, or boom we just got this. We're at this level of alive beingness that I don't know how to explain, because I can't comprehend it, because it's never existed before as far as we know it. Because you look at it, it feels like things are getting tighter, things are happening at this would be like speed in which things are getting invented, and us as climbing at the same time. It's like, this is what I mean, probably as we're going, it's like we're all going so fast at a rate, it's like it's getting narrow, it's getting tighter and tighter, eventually it's going to collide, and then we get into this thing where I really don't know. It feels like we're just growing so fast and so quick that
Hey, imagine this. You say that we're growing, accelerating, and we're gonna reach this point and where it seems like everything just explodes and like some big thing happens, right? What if we are reaching this point and we're getting smarter, everything's advancing, technology, us as a society.
Yeah.
And then we finally reach this point where it's like we're at our peak, right? And then we reach this realization, it's like, what's the point of all this complicatedness? Let's just revert back to the basicness and we all become like plants or something. And
No.
we're just like, it's like, why are we doing all this? Just become a plant and just photosynthesize and just take care of the planet. You know, what if it's just like we finally reach it and then we're like, fuck it. What's the point of all this? Just go back to base or whatever.
Well,
that goes back to simulation theory about how they reach a point of advancement
and then it starts over. And that's what I was gonna say. That's where I was gonna feel like. That's what I feel like was gonna happen. I hope these people aren't coming in here.
I mean, it's time for it to end anyway. You want to just end it?
Sure.
It's 40 minutes. Or do you have a last thought? You can say your last thought if you want.
No, we need it. It's good.
Okay,
I feel like people are coming. Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank y'all for listening. We'll talk more about the simulation theory next podcast.
Yeah, because I'm going to watch The Matrix.
Yeah, we're going to watch The Matrix, so it's perfect timing. So simulation theory, Matrix viewing, and we're going to have all this ready.
Yeah.
So thanks y'all for listening.
We could watch The Matrix here. You know,
we actually could.
Think about that. Yeah. Maybe we can talk about that after. But anyway, Broken Bread Conversations on everything, Spotify, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Instagram. Wherever you want to get your content. I'm Siko.
I'm Josh.
And shout out your Instagram again.
You can get me at poetry.and.lens.
All right. Appreciate you taking your time out of your day to watch this video.
Thank you.